Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to witness an emotional moment in the journey of Toan and lytudiem after a long period of reflection and inner struggle. Toan has finally made an important decision. He will leave the elderly woman and return with lytudiem to begin a new life together. Lytudiem comes to pick him up, and the two of them say goodbye to the old woman, promising to visit her often, even though distance will now separate them. In that moment, Toan can no longer hold back his emotions and breaks down in tears as he prepares to leave the woman who cared for him throughout this difficult time. The old woman hugs him tightly, gently comforting him and reassuring him that everything will be okay. Lytudiem is also deeply moved as she witnesses the strong bond between Toan and the elderly woman. Will Toan and lytudiem be able to build a new life together and help Toan recover his lost memories? And will the old woman find peace, knowing that her children are moving on to a new chapter? To find out what happens next and follow the continuing journey of Toan and lytudiem, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thank you for being with us. Please share your thoughts and emotions in the comments below. That morning, the old woman's house was as peaceful as it always was. Toan sat across from her soft sunlight from the window, falling gently on his face, highlighting the marks left by time. Toan looked at her, his heart feeling heavy. He couldn't forget everything she had done for him, from the moment he fell ill to the time he lost his memory. She had always been there caring for him and protecting him like family. Memories of her filled his mind like a warm flame, yet now he was facing a painful decision. He didn't want to leave her. He didn't want to leave her alone in this quiet, empty house. But lytudiem wanted him to return to the farm, to stay close to her, so he could recover his memories. The old woman looked at him and understood the worry in his eyes. Even without words, she could sense his hesitation. She knew he was under great pressure, torn between choices, and she also understood that only with lytudiem by his side could he truly heal. Toan met her gaze, his eyes filled with gratitude and appreciation, yet deep inside he was still uncertain. His thoughts felt tangled and overwhelming. The old woman said nothing. She simply sat there in silence, her eyes full of compassion and understanding. The two of them remained together in the quiet space, surrounded only by the sound of the wind and distant insects. Toan felt a steady sense of strength coming from her, and in that moment, he knew that no matter what decision he made, she would always be a solid source of support in his life. Lytudiem arrived, stepped into the small house, and greeted the old woman. The old woman smiled at her and asked about their plans for the morning. With a gentle smile, lytudiem replied that she had come to pick up Toan so they could go harvest together. Both of them understood that even though the work at the farm was demanding, it was the best chance for Toan to recover and slowly regain his memories. The old woman looked at the two of them, her gaze warm but full of concern. She already knew that Toan going back to the farm with lytudiem was necessary for his recovery. Even though she couldn't help worrying about being alone again, she also understood that this was what was best for Toan and that lytudiem would help him heal faster. Toan looked at her, his heart torn between pain and gratitude. He didn't want to leave her the woman who had always been his steady support. But he also knew Lytudiem had her reasons for wanting him close so she could take better care of him. Besides, the old woman had lived on her own for a long time, and Toan knew that wherever he went, he would always come back to visit her. Lytudiem looked at him, nodded, and gave him an encouraging smile. Toan understood that she didn't truly want to leave the old woman either, but she also knew this was the best choice for everyone. Once the decision was clear, Lytudiem turned back to the old woman and said that they would head out early to harvest and return early to help her cook. Toan felt warmth in his heart, seeing how thoughtful Lytudiem was toward her. The old woman smiled at the two of them, her heart filled with emotion. "Don't worry, my dear ones. I'll be fine. Don't worry too much about me. Go on and get to work." Thank you, Lytudiem, for helping Toan recover. Toan and Lytudiem left together, not in a hurry, walking slowly, and leaving behind the quiet space where the old woman remained, watching them go. In her heart, she felt at ease knowing that Toan and Lytudiem were stepping into a new chapter of their lives together. Silently, she looked forward to the days ahead when Toan would regain his memories, and they would once again feel like a complete family. Toan and Lytudiem worked together, harvesting green beans, part of their daily routine at the farm. The wide fields, lush greenery, and heavy clusters of beans under the summer sun make the work tiring yet peaceful. Toan carefully picks the ripe beans by hand, while Lytudiem skillfully gathers the remaining clusters, her eyes lighting up with enthusiasm for the work. Lytudiem looks at Toan, smiles, and asks, "Have you picked a lot already?" "We should make a decent sale today." Toan nods and gives a gentle smile. Even though he hasn't fully recovered his memories, moments like this make him feel connected to the life around him. Working beside Lytudiem brings him a sense of calm. No worries about the past or the future, just the present moment, and the steps they take together under the sunlight. After gathering enough green beans, they load them into bamboo baskets and prepare to head to the market. Lytudiem looks at Toan with affection in her eyes and says, "Let's sell these quickly. Then we'll come home and cook a really nice dinner tonight, okay?" Toan simply smiles without saying a word, but his eyes show his gratitude. He feels that life is slowly falling back into place. He may not remember everything yet, but he trusts Lytudiem's love and care. That trust helps him see light during his darker days. The two of them leave the farm and walk along the dirt road leading to the nearby market. Everything along the way feels calm and familiar. Farmers are working in the fields, children are running and playing, and laughter fills the air. Though the work is simple, Toan feels a strong sense of connection with the people here. They don't feel like strangers, but like friends, living together and facing hardships side by side. At the market, they set out their baskets of green beans at the stall. Customers arrive cheerfully excited to buy, since Lytudiem and Toan's green beans are known for being fresh, full, and well-sized. Each time someone makes a purchase, Lytudiem smiles warmly and speaks gently, while Toan stands beside her, carefully handing the beans to the customers. Even though the market is busy, the atmosphere is lively and warm. People chat with one another, asking about farm work and family matters. Lytudiem and Toan don't rush. They take their time and enjoy every moment of this work, simple moments that bring genuine joy. By late afternoon, most of the beans have been sold. Lytudiem and Toan pack up their stall and head back to the farm. They look at each other and smile with quiet happiness. Even though the earnings aren't large, these moments help them feel the true value of their work and the love they share. At that moment, the old woman was still working steadily in the garden. Even though she was getting older and her body was no longer as strong as before, she couldn't bring herself to stop. She held a hoe in her hands, each strike into the soil, making a soft scraping sound as dirt and stones shifted. Under the gentle afternoon sun, she kept working the veins on her hands, standing out clearly with every movement. Her eyes stayed focused as she loosened the soil and pulled weeds, finishing one row before moving on to the next. When she felt the garden work was done, she stepped back inside the house. The air indoors was quiet, with only a light breeze drifting through the window. The old woman carefully began preparing a meal for Toan and Lytudiem. She knew both of them were busy, but she always wanted them to come home to a warm, comforting meal after a long day. She quickly made a light vegetable soup with beans perfect for the summer heat and added a simple plate of salted rice to go with it. The food was simple, but everything was prepared with care and love, with the hope of giving Toan and Lytudiem a cozy meal to share. As the fire on the stove warmed up, she prepared a plate of boiled vegetables and set it on the old wooden table she'd used for so many years. Watching the small flames flicker, she felt a quiet warmth in her heart. Even though she no longer had much strength left for hard labor, every time she saw Toan and Lytudiem return with happy smiles, she felt that she could still do these small things to support them. The old woman then sat down and waited for them to return from the market. Her heart was filled with anticipation, not only because the meal was ready, but because she knew that these moments together would help heal the wounds in Toan's heart and bring her a deep sense of comfort as well. The old woman carefully prepared the meal for Toan and Lytudiem. The warm aroma of freshly steamed red sticky rice blended with the rich savory smell of spring rolls frying to a golden crisp, filling the house with a cozy sense of comfort. While the old woman stood by the stove, Lytudiem and Toan worked together on the final steps of the meal. Slowly, the old woman placed each spring roll into the pan of hot oil. The fire burned steadily, and a cheerful sizzling sound filled the kitchen. One by one, the rolls turned golden, and crispy steam rising with their rich, fragrant scent. She frowned slightly as she watched the wrappers change color, quietly turning the pan and adjusting the heat so the rolls wouldn't burn and would cook evenly. Lytudiem stood beside her, helping prepare a plate for the finished rolls. She spoke softly. "Your spring rolls are really amazing, Grandma. They smell so good." The old woman simply smiled, her eyes warm, as she looked at Lytudiem, then continued working. She didn't say anything, but the look in her eyes showed quiet satisfaction and deep affection for the two young people. She knew they were here with her, sharing these precious moments. And to her, that was a gift beyond value. While she fried the spring rolls, Toan stayed busy helping as well. He checked the pot of sticky rice, gently stirring so it wouldn't stick. The kitchen filled with familiar sounds of cooking, along with the gentle scent of food that brought a sense of calm to everyone. "Go help Grandma outside for a bit," Lytudiem said to Toan when she saw how focused he was. "Okay, I'm coming," Toan replied, then continued with what he was doing. The two of them worked side by side, cooking and sharing warm, quiet moments around the stove. After a while, the old woman lifted the pot of red sticky rice off the stove. The aroma of the bright red grains spread through the room, filling every corner. Plates of golden spring rolls were arranged neatly on the tray. She carefully placed each roll on the plate, then set the sticky rice on the table. The meal was complete, simple, yet filled with all the care and devotion she had for her two grandchildren. When the meal was ready, all three of them sat together around the table. Lytudiem handed the plate of spring rolls to the old woman and smiled gently. "Grandma, please try these spring rolls. They're really good." The old woman took the plate, smiled kindly, and tasted the first bite. "Thank you, Lytudiem. You're very skillful. This is delicious," she said, her eyes lighting up as she watched her two grandchildren happy and content. Toan didn't forget to invite her to eat as well. His eyes filled with respect. "You make this so well, Grandma." "Thank you," he said softly and sincerely. The old woman simply smiled in return and picked up another spring roll. Each crispy golden bite paired perfectly with the gentle sweetness of the red sticky rice, turning the meal into a truly warm and comforting moment. The meal passed peacefully, without many words. Lytudiem and Toan sat beside each other, sharing spring rolls and bowls of rice. They didn't need to say much, just being together was enough. Family love wasn't shown only through words, but through small actions, wrapping spring rolls, cooking together, caring for one another in simple, quiet ways. As the meal was coming to an end, Toan looked at the old woman, his heart full. "Grandma, there's something I want to tell you," he began calmly. Lytudiem said I should go back to her farm, but I don't want to leave you either. The old woman listened, her eyes full of understanding. She knew Toan would have to face this difficult choice, and she trusted that he would choose the path that was best for him. She looked at him gently and said with encouragement, "Go with her, my dear. I understand. I won't be here forever, and the two of you need your own space to build your life together. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me." Her words eased Toan's heart. Though he still felt a trace of hesitation, he knew he had to follow Lytudiem's decision. "Thank you so much, Grandma. You were the one who stayed by my side when I needed it most. I'll never forget you." After the meal, Toan and Lytudiem helped the old woman clean up and prepared to leave. Before stepping out, Toan turned back to look at her once more. Nothing in the house had changed, but in his heart, she had left a deep and lasting mark. "I'll come back to visit you often," he said, filled with gratitude. The old woman nodded, her eyes bright with hope and love. "Go on, my dear. I'll always be here waiting for you." After the warm meal, Toan and Lytudiem stood up and got ready to leave. Though there was a sense of reluctance, they knew a new life was waiting ahead. The old woman stood at the doorway, her gaze full of love mixed with quiet concern. She watched them silently, as if trying to hold on to this moment in her heart. Lytudiem turned back one last time, gratitude filling her voice. "Thank you so much, Grandma. We'll always remember you." Toan stood beside her, smiling, his eyes showing the same appreciation. "Please take good care of yourself. We'll come back to visit often." The old woman nodded and smiled. "Thank you, my dear ones. Go on. Don't worry about me. I'll stay here and always wish for your happiness." Her words brought a deep sense of peace to both Toan and lytudiem. They knew that no matter where life took them, the old woman would always remain a steady presence in their hearts. As they stepped out of the house, Toan and lytudiem looked back once more, then continued walking forward. Their steps still carried some worries, but also a strong sense of hope for a new future, one where they would build a happy family together. Their story continues, and a new journey begins. The love and care they share will give them strength to face whatever lies ahead. And with the old woman's support, they will never feel alone on their path. This marks the end of one chapter, but also the beginning of a new story. Thank you for following this journey with us. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss our next videos. Please share your thoughts and feelings in the comments and turn on notifications to stay updated. Wishing you happiness and joy, and we'll see you in the next video. As Toan and lytudiem walked down the narrow dirt road, the late afternoon sun cast long shadows behind them. Neither of them spoke at first. The silence wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind that allowed thoughts to settle. Toan glanced back once more, the image of the old woman standing at the doorway still clear in his mind. Her gentle smile stayed with him, heavy yet comforting at the same time. lytudiem noticed his hesitation and slowed her pace slightly. She didn't reach for his hand right away. Instead, she walked beside him, giving him space, understanding that this moment carried more weight than words could ease. "She'll be okay," lytudiem said softly, breaking the silence. "She's stronger than she looks." Toan nodded. "I know. I don't want her to feel alone." "She won't," lytudiem replied. "And we'll come back. Often." That simple promise seemed to lift something from his chest. Toan took a deep breath and let the air fill his lungs. The road ahead stretched quietly toward the farm, familiar, yet still slightly uncertain. He didn't remember everything about his past, but the path he was walking now felt right. When they arrived at the farm, the evening light painted the fields in soft gold. The plants swayed gently in the breeze, and the air carried the faint scent of soil and leaves. Toan paused for a moment, taking it all in. Something about this place stirred a sense of belonging in him. Even if his memories hadn't fully returned, his heart recognized the calm. lytudiem unlocked the gate and stepped inside. "You can rest for a bit," she said. "You've had a long day." Toan shook his head slightly. "I'm okay. I want to help." She smiled. "All right. Just don't push yourself." They worked quietly together, tidying up tools and checking the crops before nightfall. The rhythm of simple tasks grounded Toan. Each movement felt purposeful. Each moment beside lytudiem reassured him that he wasn't facing this journey alone. Later, as darkness slowly settled, they sat on the wooden steps outside the house. The sky above them filled with stars, one by one shining softly. Crickets chirped in the distance, and the world seemed to slow down. lytudiem wrapped a light blanket around Toan's shoulders. "Some nights will be hard," she said honestly. "There will be days when you feel lost." Toan looked at her. "And if I don't remember everything?" She met his gaze without hesitation. "Then we'll make new memories. Together." That answer stayed with him. It didn't promise perfection or certainty, but it promised presence. And for Toan, that was enough. Far away, in the quiet of her small home, the old woman sat near the window, sipping warm tea. She looked out at the darkened yard and smiled softly to herself. In her heart, there was a sense of peace. She knew that letting go didn't mean losing them. It meant trusting them to grow. That night, under different roofs, but the same sky, all three of them carried the same hope that tomorrow would bring healing clarity and the quiet joy of knowing they were connected no matter the distance. And so the journey continued.